Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Real People, a candid conversation with Dr. Karoline Bethea-Jones, and I am your host. 2020, the year that had many of us fearing for our lives, mistrusting our government, and questioning our faith. And faith is defined as complete trust or confidence in someone or something. It is a strong belief in God, or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. In the Christian faith, faith is the substance of what we hope for and the evidence of the unseen. In the Old Testament, faith describes the covenant between God and his people and the trust and belief that God would keep his promises. Now, faith in Islam is the belief in the unity of Allah. Muslims believe in one Lord, and that is Allah, the Almighty. In Buddhism, faith refers to a serene commitment to the practice of the Buddhist teachings and trust in enlightened or highly developed beings. A connection to faith has long been recognized as having a deeply profound impact on emotional well-being. And 2020 has certainly challenged our emotional well-being. But throughout history, a connection to a higher power has been the cornerstone of empowerment that has sustained us. But faith without works is dead. So what must we do through our collective faith in a higher power to bring healing to a world that has been sickened by hatred, racism, inequality, and despair? Well, that is what I plan to discover in my candid conversations with men and women of faith and those who may have lost their faith. So join me as I seek to uncover the one universal law that will bring us all together and bring healing. My topic is religion. So how does religion affect the behavior of human beings? How does religion enforce moral laws? Some would argue that religion controls actions which limits our freedom. And speaking of freedom, how does free will play into people's attitudes? Well, the purpose of this podcast is not to vilify religion or downplay its effect it has on the lives of individuals who practice it. I am hoping that through our individual conversations and our individual religious experiences, we can spread love, hope, unity, and healing, as well as justice and equality to a world that is in desperate need of all of the above. Well, Stevie Wonder says it well in a song when he says that the world is in need of love today. I could not agree more. So my guest today is Khadijah Bethea. Khadijah, how are you?
I'm fine. Alhamdulillah.
Good. Thank you for joining me on this candid conversation. I'm going to enjoy a conversation with you.
Alhamdulillah.
Good. So listen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, okay?
Okay. I am a mom of two. Been married 23 years. I do teach at this present time. I was in the music business at one time as a marketing promoter person for the music business, and I did get a lot of plaques and awards for that, but I had to leave that eventually. Right now, I would say I'm back in school for finishing my degree in religion and Islamic studies. And I'm working on my master's in teaching.
Okay, that sounds great. So as you know, this is a podcast about religion.
Yes.
So I want you to tell us your spiritual journey. How did you get to the place you are right now? Because all of us have a journey, and we all started from somewhere, and we all have arrived to where we are arrived. So tell us how you arrived to where you are right now.
Okay, all right, great. Right now, I am Muslim. on how I became Muslim, how I ended up finding this way of life. I was born Christian. I was born in a Baptist family. My mom and dad both was Baptist, and my mom went through her spiritual journey with us. So I ended up being Pentecostal for a minute. And when I became 16, I had to go and I try to figure out what was right for me. So I visited a whole bunch of different religions. I went to Seventh-day Adventist, which at 16 is not good for a 16-year-old. So worshiping on Saturday was not the best. That was just not cool. Then I went to the synagogue with my friend Rebecca Fancy, but I was the only black person there, so I felt awkward. Then I went to Jehovah's Witness, and as growing up as a kid, my family did Christmas and holidays very big, so I was just not happy with that at all.
Okay.
This I'm so serious. It was so funny. I went to a Methodist church, which I really like because I'm a Little House on the Prairie fan. Mm-hmm. And we went in there and we were singing hymns and out the book, and I can't sing, but it was just it was not enough gospel for me, gospel music per se.
Okay.
So yeah, I've away from that. So, and then my last venture was to the Nation of Islam. I visited the Nation of Islam. I liked it, but it was kind of weird because they always talk about, dislikes for white people. Right. And I had white friends, so I couldn't really relate too much.
Right.
But I enjoyed it. But I didn't relate, so I left it alone. So years passed. I ended up getting married. My husband went through a journey of the 5% Nation of Islam, and then he became Sunni Orthodox Muslim. Mm-hmm. But during his journey of his religion, he was able to see things that he pointed out to me after we got married. But he never, ever, never forced Islam on me whatsoever. Okay. He just never. Matter of fact, he compromised to the point that if I did Halloween, he asked me not to do not to do ghosts and goblins and stuff. Right. And I did pumpkin patches, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He asked me not to do Christmas bulbs. I went and got ornaments, which was extra expensive, Then he bent down and said, just do the bulbs because it's cost too much. But so that led me to a lot of things back and forth. But he never pressured me whatsoever.
Okay, that's good.
Finally, never. He never even said anything. He would just pray. He'll say little comments, nothing. Just went with the flow. What happened was when and this is a funny story. What happened? I believe that God touches everybody a certain way.
Yes.
With a certain responsibility and a certain direction. So with my going this direction in Islam, we was in a house, and I will never forget this. I was in school at UNCG for my marketing and entrepreneurship degree at the time, mm-hmm. and we had an issue with the light company, real bad. I was working as a manager for Bojangles, and my husband had lost his job, so he was collecting unemployment for a minute. The unemployment ran out. I get paid every 2 weeks, and the light company couldn't care less. So their plan was to cut the lights off, and I'm like, oh my God, my husband had started collecting his unemployment 6 months prior. I'm telling them I'm getting paid in the following week. Can they wait? And they said no. So at this moment, I'm upset. I go to the ministries and stuff. I got turned down because of my job and because I do get school refunds at the time, which was gone. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God. So I'm in the house flipping and upset and writing down a list how we're going to save the food and stuff. And my husband comes in and he says, I prayed about it. And he went back in the room and sat down and watched TV.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there like, excuse me, you prayed about it? What you mean? Yeah, I'm like, what? And now I thought he had lost his mind. I got the two boys trying to figure out what I'm going to do with them during the 2 weeks that we're going to be in the dark. So I'm like totally upset right now. And the next morning, he gets up and he says, well, God spoke to me. I said, what? He said, I had a dream to go check my unemployment card. Now I'm really looking at him like he's crazy. I said, you ain't collected unemployment in 6 months. The bill was only $110, and I just couldn't understand why Duke Power couldn't wait.
Right.
Then he comes back in and so I got $340 in my card. I was like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, that right there. And like I said, everybody, God points everybody to a direction that you need to be pointed to the way he wants you to go. So I'm assuming at that moment that he wanted me to learn about Islam.
Okay, so it was your husband's faith, his
Yes.
faith, and his stern faith and his belief that God would do what God promised he would do.
Yes. Yes, he
Okay,
did.
that's
Yeah.
all right. That's a testimony right there.
And I went straight to school the next day at UNCG and signed up for Islamic 101 because I really didn't want people's religious beliefs
Right.
explaining something to me because I had that fear that people would try to force you to do their religion.
Right.
So I just wanted a circular understanding of what Islam really was. And so I ended up signing up for class for that. And then I found out that it just was no different. It's not a difference. It's just a certain practices that's a little bit more strenuous. But it helps some people to be on the straight path. It helps them to be focused because some people are just not focused. Some people need, a guidelines or a map or, just a guideline to follow to do what they have to do. Some people have it naturally.
Yes, I agree.
Like you have it naturally.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So is there a difference between Islam for men and women? Like, I guess what I'm asking is, the lessons and the teaching, is it different for men than it is for women?
Not at all.
So everybody gets the same teaching?
Exactly the same teaching.
Oh, okay.
It's based on Islam is based on the faith. You have to understand the faith of Islam. It's 6 principles of Islam and faith that every Muslim, not female Muslim, male Muslim, every Muslim are obligated to learn.
Okay.
And the 6 things that we believe as Muslims is we believe in the oneness of God. We believe in all his prophets, every last one. And we believe in Jesus, Moses, which we call Musa, Abraham, John the Baptist, Elijah's. We believe in the same prophets that our Christian brothers and sisters believe in, exactly to the same, which we have to study each one down to Noah and so forth. We believe in all the books that God sent. We believe in the Torah. We believe in the Gospel. We believe in the Psalms, the book of Psalms. We also believe in the books that was taken away from us, like Noah had a book, Abraham had his book, but we believe that they was taken.
Okay, yes.
And we believe in the Quran as the last revelation. Not the only revelation, but the last.
Okay, interesting.
We believe in all his angels and poor Gabriel. In monotheism religion, he's the one that got to bring news to all the prophets all the time.
Yeah.
Like Abraham, he talked to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 20 years of revelations. He he went to Moses. He went to Jesus. He went to Mary. Yeah, Gabriel is a working angel for real. So we believe in all his angels, and we believe they're unlimited. God can make as many angels as he wants because he's God. We also believe in the day of judgment, judgment day, and that you're going to be judged based on your intentions and based on the things that you do and your deeds. And we also believe in God's decree, that he already knows what's going to happen. We don't need to know. He knows already what's going to happen. And he leads us in a path to get us to that direction that's positive to get us there. We as humans have a tendency to stray and want to, do our own nuffs and do our own thing and take us off the track. But God always trying to put us on track.
Okay.
And that's what we believe.
All right.
Now, how we follow that belief?
Yeah. There's
principles that men and women both have to do to follow that belief. And that's the 5 pillars of Islam. So that's when you hear people talk about the Shahada. You announce the Shahada, stating that you believe in the oneness of God. The other thing is that you believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last prophet, not the only prophet, not somebody you worship, but that he's the last prophet and he brought the last book and there's no more after that. We believe that we practice that prayer 5 times a day. We practice zakat, which is charity. It's a mandatory charity, and then you have a charity where you can do on your own. And charity is a very big thing in Islam. We have Ramadan that you have to do, which is a fasting, and we believe that Ramadan fasting period is one of the best, closest ways to get to God because it's between you and God. And we also have the Hajj, where we make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, Mecca, and Medina.
Oh, okay.
And that's the pillars. That's the I would say the actions of what we believe.
Okay, thanks for sharing that with us too. Because, like I said, a lot of people don't know any of this stuff, but they assume that they know everything about every single person that does not study the way they want them to study. I'm hoping what this podcast do is can bring us to an understanding that each of us have our different practices. It does not mean that one person is better than the other person or more right than the other person. But my thing has always been, we should all be moving toward God.
Yes.
We should all be living our lives in such a way that we are all moving toward the glory of God.
That's true. And I'm going to add to that. I would like to add to that. We believe in, according to the book of the Quran states that the best of us is the most pious and the most righteous of us.
Okay.
It never said anything about who got the better religion, who got the better. It just says who is, according to Judgment Day, the best of us is the most pious and the most righteous.
Right. Now, do you believe that there's a difference between religion and spirituality?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. In my studies so far, the word religion was a made-up word from the people in the West trying to categorize people in the East. And they say they still trying to define it. Spirituality has to deal with the way of life. And I believe Islam, Christianity, Judaism is a way of life. Mm-hmm. See, a lot of people want to make religion. Once you put the religion, that word religion, it separates it from everyday life.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, I'm going to go to church Sunday, or I'm going to go to Jumu'ah on Friday, and that's it. And I may go to set classes, and that's it, and everything stops.
Right.
It's not incorporating it in the way you treat your wife, the way you treat your neighbors, the way you treat your children, the way you treat your employees at work. It doesn't incorporate that. It just it separates that.
Right.
And so I don't even use the word religion.
Right.
Spirituality to me deals with the inner being. So now you taking that spirituality and incorporating it with the way of how you operate with your neighbors, how you working at your job with your co-workers. It's everyday life. Right. So to me, I would call myself more spiritually if I had to say that.
Okay.
Because it's dealing with the way of life. I apply Islam in everything I do.
Okay. And I'm glad you said that, because that is how I deal with myself. I was asked a question and I was told that there is no difference, but I believe that there is a difference based upon exactly what you just said. I consider myself spiritual because although I practice Christianity is my way of life. I live according to a moral code that's embedded inside of me that makes me want to do what is right, treat my neighbors right, love my enemies, and love everybody. I believe love to be the universal law that is shared between every single, I'm going to say so-called religion, because like you pointed out, religion is just a name that we put to organized, I don't
rituals. Rituals. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's good. We at least share that definition. So this part of the podcast, this segment where I'm talking to women, because I'm speaking about how far women have come in religion, first of all, because there was a time when women's thoughts and their values or what they had to say wasn't even considered among the men who practice religion. So it is important to me to highlight the deeds of women, because I believe that women are the most nurturing of the both sexes, first of all, and so we have an innate ability to show love. I'm not saying that that's across the board, because there
no it is
but okay, but so let's talk about women in that aspect.
Okay, well, Islam is a little bit different. Now on that note, Islam is a little bit different from Christianity. Because in Islam, from day one, women had just equal rights as men.
Okay.
The first university, which is still around to this day, is in Morocco, was started and founded by a woman Muslim.
Oh, okay.
The very first university in this world.
What's her name? Share that with us.
Fatima. Her name is Fatima.
Okay.
I forgot I can't pronounce the last name. I'm still learning Arabic.
It's all right.
But her name is Fatima, and she built the very first in the world university in Morocco for education.
Okay.
So women are very big on that.
And education is important for the women as well as the men, right?
Oh yes, definitely. And Islam is, because the woman is the first nurturer of the child.
Yes.
The woman has to be educated, because you got to teach the child. You got to teach the child etiquettes on how to behave, the way of life with Islam, the daily prayers, in Arabic and stuff like that, math, English, grammar. The woman is the first teacher of the child, so they really, some of these, and a lot of cultures get mixed up into the religion, which is not Islam. Islam is told to us that it's a perfect way of life. People are just not perfect. Right.
And that's Christianity too. It's not just Islam. Christianity too. I studied Christianity. Like I said, Christianity is a way of life for me. It is not. And sometimes I get just as disappointed as you may get when you see someone who bears the name of Islam or Muslim and not living according to the precepts. I feel exactly the same way. It is a way of life. And if you really are not considering changing your lifestyle for the better and for the good of your family, for the people around you, for the world, I am often accused, especially by my daughter, of trying to save the world.
Me too.
Yes. Mommy, you cannot save the world. And she's right. I cannot save the world. But I feel that each of us have an obligation to the world.
Yes, we do.
And I have an obligation. I like to see, I like to be a person who puts myself in a position to make the changes in myself that I would like to see in the world. And just like you, and we're going to talk about what you do in your the teachings that you have for the women who come to you.
Yes.
And my organization, Sisters Helping Sisters in Christ Ministry, it is exactly what we strive for. I am not trying to teach a religion as much as I am trying to teach a lifestyle.
Yes.
Yes.
You know why? I 100% agree. See, there's so many similarities between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Ridiculous. But the devil's job is to separate people.
Of course it is.
So he's going to do that. And he's going to work overtime while we're sleeping. He's definitely working overtime.
Absolutely.
But in Islam, we're told to convey the message, even if it's one verse. Just that's all you're supposed to do, is convey the message is one God, and then dealing with learning the way of life in Islam is told, and this is why I say the Muslims that they hear about in the media is so opposite of what Islam teaches. It's told to us it is a sin, in which we say, you may hear the word haram. It is a sin to try to convert somebody to Islam. Right. It's a major sin. Because only God can make who he wants to make Christian. Only God can make who he wants to make Jew. Only God can make who he wants to make Muslim. He chooses who they're going to be. That's the path he chose for them, and he's going to lead them on that path. There's nothing you can do.
Right. And I often tell people to follow the path that they're on.
Yes.
And just be the best. My goal in life is to help you be the best you that you're trying to be. I can't tell you what your journey is. You should already know what it is.
Yeah. Or pray about it. God will lead you.
Exactly.
We're talking prayer. The Fatihahs, what you hear the Muslims say 5 times a day is the Fatihah. It's really short. And let me say it real quick. I'm going to say it in English. Okay. It says, and it's similar to the Lord's Prayer, which is so, when I talk to my non-Muslim brothers and sisters, when we discuss that, they just be smiling like, wow, it's the same thing, just shorter. I told them it's just shorter, but it goes this way. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all praise is due to Allah, a Lord of all the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, the master a day of judgment. Thee do we worship, thy aid we seek. Show us the straight way, not the way of the disbelievers, but the way of the ones with true guidance from our Lord. Amen. And that's what we say.
And that's a great prayer, because it's what I pray every day. Because I may not know those exact words, but it's the same meaning is what I'm trying to say.
The Lord's Prayer is the same meaning.
Yeah, just lead me to the right way, because I'm not in this to try to do what is wrong. I have a desire to do what is right. I have a desire to live right. I have a desire to treat my fellow man right. It's a desire that I have within me. And so this is what we bring to the table when we're dealing with our women empowerment courses. Now let's talk about some of the classes that you teach, because I know that you and your husband has a nonprofit organization. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Okay, yeah. Well, actually, we have 3.
Okay, let's talk about all 3 of them.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start with one where it's co-partnership. Okay. The one that deals with charity, because remember I said the pillars of Islam, the building blocks of what we believe, the actions of what we believe. Is one of the major actions is charity.
Okay.
It's zakat. And there's two kinds. You have zakat where is obligatory zakat that God puts on us 2% of our pay that we have to pay to, not necessarily to our masjids or our play of worship. We have to pay zakat, that money, to somebody in need. We as Muslims are responsible for making sure that our place of worship is covered. That has nothing to do with helping somebody in need. So you have a zakat. Then you have another form of charity, which you call sadaqah, which is your choice if you want to do it or not. So our shura is based on both. We try to help people when it's time for them to give their 2.5%. They can give it to us, and we'll make sure it gets to the poor. Or they can just do random, like we have a random thing that we're doing now. We did a food drive recently, where we worked with the Zakat Foundation. We gave away 900 boxes of fresh produce to the community. Muslim or non-Muslim. I don't know why people think that Muslims only service Muslims, but you guys, it's humanity. We're humanity, right?
Right.
Right now we're dealing with the coat drive because it has gotten cold down in North Carolina for some odd reason. But the weather is really acting different, and we know what it is. We know we all living in the end times. Right. So right now we have a coat drive where we, collecting blankets and stuff like that. So our show is based on doing charity in the community. One more thing that we're doing, which will be coming in March, is EB babies. This is everybody's babies. So when we, collect slightly used baby clothes and stuff like that. Okay. And then we bag it up pretty. We put it in gift bags because when people are struggling, they don't want everybody to know that they're struggling.
No, absolutely, I totally agree. Now, anybody can donate to your organizations. Is that correct?
Exactly. Anybody can take from it too. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, anybody can donate. We had worked in partnership with a church down here one time where we made hot food, and we always went out and we serviced the hot food in the community and stuff like that. So yeah, we work together as long as we're on the same understanding of doing charity.
Okay.
Now, somebody's attention sometimes, because only God knows your intentions. You could be doing it just as I just want to say I'm working with the Muslims, or you can be doing it generally because let's work together and get it done. Have no idea what your intentions are, but the outcome is the people get their service, and that's what.
Absolutely.
So that's our shura. Then you have Muslima committee. Now the Muslima committee, and a lot of people don't know this. Islam, again, I say, is God's religion, is a God way of life. Any religion, well, I'm going to say religion because that's rituals, but I'm going to say any way of life that God ordains for us is perfect. People are just not perfect, but the way of life is laid out pretty for us. That being said, I started the Muslima committee of North Carolina when I first accepted Islam because I didn't see the sisterhood that I saw when I was an Eastern Star. Okay. And that bothered me. So, because there's a lot in Greensboro for some reason, and this is one of the areas where there's a lot of different cultures. You have Muslims from Nigeria, Sudan, Somalian, Pakistan, Morocco, from all different countries with all different languages. So what I did when I started that, I just started bringing the sisters together no matter what their culture was. Because I saw that when I went to my place of worship, people was in little corners. You had the Moroccans over here. You had the Pakistanians over here. You had Somalians over here. So with this organization, it kind of forced the sisters to come together and to share. And it really worked out beautifully. But in that, in this area especially, we have a lot of people that convert into Islam in droves. And a lot of new shahadas, which we call new shahadas, people that just accepted, are so lost. So that's when I started the Halakha for You. The Halakha for You is our study group. So in that study group, we invite sisters, Muslims and non-Muslims. And the reason I say we stress the non-Muslims, because these days, like yourself even, you have somebody in your family that's Muslim. You don't have no idea what they're about. Right, exactly. So on Sunday mornings at 10, we invite the non-Muslim sisters to come in if they're not going to church at that time. And it's only an hour, so it won't take up a lot of time, to ask questions. We give them what Islam really is, what the woman's role really is. what their rights are, because there's a lot of rights. The women have a lot of rights in Islam. There's so many, it's ridiculous. There's so many that one brother cried when me and my husband told him he was going to get married, and he just had an outburst. He said, "Do you know how many rights a woman have?" We was like, "Oh, okay." He said, "It's going to go on forever. We only have 5." I was like, "Oh, well, brother, I can't help you with that." But yeah, so that study session is for that. It's for the new Muslims, the non-Muslim women, and recently, because the sisters believe that is an obligation to learn, and you're learning for the rest of your life.
Yes,
we have seasoned sisters. I'm not called seasoned sisters. Those are ones that's born in Islam or have been Muslim for over 30 years. They also participate.
Oh, okay. So I love that, because we're all sharing our religious experiences, and that's how we're going to come together. So the world, as you can see, the world, a lot has been happening, like you mentioned even earlier, that you believe we're in the end times. I believe that too. What can we do to bring some light into the world? If we had one message that we wanted to deliver to anybody who's listening to our voice right now, what would that message be from you? How do we get people to come together?
I'm gonna say you're gonna learn this from me. I would never say nothing for myself per se, because I don't know the answers, but I know God do. And we believe that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Prophet Muhammad, told us that the best of the best was Jesus. Now Jesus said, and if everybody did this would be awesome. Just be kind to your neighbor.
Okay.
So if everybody just put one neighbor and just did a chain reaction, just being kind to that one neighbor beside you, that neighbor beside them, that neighbor beside them, this would be a better place.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I like to say is that I want us to bring together the one universal law that will make the biggest difference in the world. And I know what I believe that is, but what do you think that one universal law is that will bring everybody to a place of unity?
Worshiping God the way He wants us to worship Him. It'll be, to me, that'll bring unity.
Okay.
If everybody understands exactly how God wants you to worship Him, and in your worship, you'll be doing kind to your family, to your parents, your obligation to your neighbors, obligation to your community. It'll make it a better world.
Okay. So basically, in a nutshell, everybody mind their business and also be mindful of the people around them.
Yes. Now that's one of the the funny you say that. That's one of the rules in Islam, to mind your business.
Okay. It makes perfect sense to me, because we have too many busybodies in everybody's business. And one of the things that I love that you said is that you don't try to convert somebody. I literally love that, because I don't think that it is right to try to convert somebody. I think what you do is you take away a person's right to choose for themselves. And I think it's amazing when we can simply just walk beside someone who's on a journey and just be there if they need our assistance or they're seeking our help. But I truly don't want to be this person who's trying to ram my beliefs or my journey down somebody else's throat, because basically I'm on this journey. This is my journey.
Yes.
And you are on your journey.
Yep.
But if we can come together, or we meet in a path, or we're on the same road, then let us be kind to each other. Let us support what each of us are doing while we're on our journey.
Yes, I agree. We have a Muslim community where we have a Sisters Talk Dawah dinner, where we invite non-Muslim women to dinner once a month, and we just dialogue. It's like an interfaith kind of situation,
right?
Because to also go on your journey is to seek information.
Yes.
So you don't treat somebody wrong that you don't even know why you're treating them wrong, unless you research what you know about them. Right. So when we do these things, a lot of the people that do come, sometimes we have a whole entire church that'll come, sisters of churches. We'll visit the church, we'll visit the synagogue, and we'll talk about what Islam is. And when we finish, they be in total shock. They be like, we had no idea. It's like, it's really simple. But we're not, like I said, we're not forced to pressure nobody to accept Islam. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. We believe, and then this is in all religions, if you take the 10 Commandments, you take the very first one, thou shalt have no other God but me. So if you forcing somebody to do something they don't want to do, that makes you like a demigod.
Right. You become their God. Right. Yeah.
That's a major sin. That in Islam we call that shirk. We call that major shirk, and it's going to lead you straight to the hellfire by yourself.
Exactly. And it's in the same realm that when I tell people the difference between in Christianity is why we know that we no longer have to listen to the evil side. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to, because whoever you listen to becomes your master. Whoever you obey becomes your master. It's like you said, in our religion, it's the first thing, it's the first rule. We see that in Adam and Eve. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. Whoever you listen to and follow, that is your master.
Yes.
So I believe in choices and consequences. It has been the thing that I have taught through my women's empowerment classes from the very beginning. From the very beginning, it's understood that you are actually making your own choices. And also the consequences that come with those choices are yours. It's nobody else's. We didn't put that on you.
No.
And the first thing we teach is accountability. You have to first be accountable for your life and what you do, because that accountability is you. You are doing everything. You are making everything happen in your life. You are doing that. Not Khadijah, not Karoline, you are doing that. And when you first get to see that, you have to make the right choices for yourself. And that's what we pretty much teach. Our whole organization, and I believe yours as well, is to motivate, uplift, educate, and try to get women to see their own path and to make their own choices and to be able to make good choices. One of the verses in Christianity that I live by is that we were created to do good works. God did not put us here for us to fail and for us to not be able to live according to his laws. We have the capabilities of doing that, and we have to first see that we can.
That's so true. You know something, I was listening to you say this, and that's in our halakha we stress that, because we have a lot of new shahadas that come in and they get confused. I was one of those that thought something different. I thought I was supposed to be submissive. I didn't understand what it really meant to be submissive. And as I learned, I realized that the women do have, even in Islam, well, a lot of people don't know this. In Islam, the woman chooses her husband. Mm-hmm. The husband don't choose her. She chooses the one she want to be with.
Okay.
You know, and it's a lot of people get that confused with what they see, and they get confused with the polygamy. How they feel that the woman is oppressed. I mean, it's far from it. It's far from it. It's matter of fact, I think the brothers get stressed out. The ones that do it right and follow what God says, they be stressed out. They got to make sure everything is balanced all the time. Mm-hmm. They have to be just. And it's just so much like. It is a saying in Islam, and I love this saying, that paradise is at the foot of your mother.
Oh, I love that saying.
Yeah, they totally believe that, and that's how you have to treat your mom. There was a gentleman that came to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and asked, how can he get to heaven? What was the easy way to get to heaven? So the Prophet tells him, well, do you have a mother? He said, yeah. He said, well, be good to your mother. He said, what's another way? He said, do you have a mother? He said it 3 times. And then he finally said, oh, your father too. I was like, wow. So that's the status of women in Islam. It's like really beautiful. And it's just limits. You know, what, the devil works on making sure to try to give everybody that is different religions.
Yes.
All of us follow the religion of Abraham. Only thing that Islam believes is that its book is the last book, the last revelation. That's it. A lot of people, when I talk to my sisters in Christianity, I tell them, I said, the Bible is the basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
You know, so, but if you don't know how to do that, then the Quran here that says, okay, let me explain how you do this. You do it this way, blah, 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 blah. And this goes into a little bit more detail to help you understand what you need to do according to what Jesus had laid out originally.
Right.
You know,
and
then a lot of people don't,
the religion of Abraham is basically belief in God. In God. Yes. You know, and Christianity says that Abraham was counted as righteous because he believed God. And we need to believe God. It's almost like the story that you said about your husband who went and prayed and he sat. No, because let me tell you why. Because it means this is what Jesus did. Yeah. He went and prayed, and he always waited for the revelation. Yes. We sometimes don't. We don't believe God if we don't wait for the revelations. Nobody is saying sit and wait and do nothing. No. We're saying sit and wait for the revelation because God will reveal it to you.
You see how close this religion is to each other?
Exactly.
Then we believe in patience. We believe that you pray for it and you be patient, and God will give you a time when he feels it's time for you to have it. But you be patient, but you have to believe. That
exactly. Yeah. And it's not like he's not going to give you the revelation. He will give you the revelation.
Yeah, that's, a lot of people don't understand too. In Islam, we believe that Jesus is the Messiah and that he's just going to come back and he's going to teach. He's going to continue teaching because he got to finish his time on earth. Teaches us the right way, the right path and stuff like that. So we do believe that he's coming back. So a lot of things that the Prophet Muhammad would say, he would quote in the Quran, Jesus. Mm-hmm. If anybody takes time out just to read the Quran, like I said, it's not no matter of conversion, nobody.
Right.
That in the Quran, the Prophet Muhammad is not really mentioned. He's talked to, but who's mentioned mostly in the Quran is Moses and Jesus.
Well,
Jesus. And also Quran, a lot of people don't know this. Each chapter, we call it surahs, but in English you would say chapter.
Right.
There's a chapter in the Quran that's called the woman. All about us.
Yes. I have a Quran because your husband gave me one.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and all of you know that I literally love all of the scriptures, all of the religions. I have a Torah. Yes. I have the Bhagavad Gita. I have all of that. I love reading sacred writings.
Yes, me too.
Yes. I believe in all of the sacred writings to the point in which is not me saying that I'm denouncing no. I have a real desire to understand all things that are sacred.
Yes.
And I have lots of respect for all of the religions. And so I don't walk around trying to judge what everybody is or who, what, you believe in. That's not my job to do.
No.
But I do want to learn, because especially when you're dealing with all different types of women, and you must know this too, because you said you invite non-Muslims in. You can't help an individual until you know the core of where they sit.
Yes.
And I want to understand someone who has a belief in something that's not my belief.
Yes.
And so I have given myself opportunity to learn and study all of the religions of the world and read all of the sacred scriptures, some of them that were lost to us that are now found, some that, are not in the Bible, didn't make it in the Bible. And even the Bible itself says that if we put everything in the Bible, you wouldn't even be able to pick up the Bible. That's how much scripture and sacred script is out there. So you know that
the Quran, what the Quran says, and a lot of people don't understand when you glance through it and stuff. It has a verse which we call ayat, right? That says that it's a conclusion, and everybody got to realize you use definition. Conclusion means a summary. Mm-hmm. It's a summary of what's
right.
So the Quran is saying that I'm taking this summary of the gospel, of the books of Psalms, of the Torah, and just summarize it into a smaller text of 144 chapters for you to live the religion of God.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what it is. That's why I tell people it's not no different. I really tell them, like, for Ramadan, I tell my Christian brothers and sisters, I say, y'all need to be fasted. What do you mean we need to be fasted? Ramadan is not for Muslims. Ramadan is for everybody. All the books from God was revealed. If you take a chart, you take your time. The scholars already got it figured out. They would break down when the Torah was revealed to Moses, when the gospel was revealed to Jesus. And during that time is that month where everybody fasts. So now I have we have a little group, interfaith group that fasts with us. So we have our Christian sister, Jewish brother. he don't ask, this is the weirdest thing, but he comes in and he wants to socialize. So we made it open for both brothers and sisters of different faiths during Ramadan. We talk about the books that was revealed and when they was revealed during that time.
Okay.
And the last book that was revealed is the Quran. That was it.
Okay.
I believe in all the religion. I mean, I study all the religion. The weirdest thing when I accepted Islam, this is so backwards though, but when I accepted Islam, and one of the conditions in Islam is that you have to know all the books. So in other words, they tell us that God is going to judge you based on the book that you're supposed to read. Because you're supposed to read from the cradle to the grave. You're supposed to study from the cradle to the grave. That's Christianity. Mm-hmm. And in another term, the same concept in Islam, you're obligatory to seek knowledge for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So that being said, they said that in the Quran, it says that on the day of judgment, the Jew is going to be called up, and he's going to be based on his book. He's going to be judged on the book that God left him to what he followed. So if you are Jewish, you're going to be judged on the Torah. If you're Christian, you're going to be judged on that Bible. So it's obligatory for you to study that Bible, to understand the rules and regulations that God set for you to practice according to not what you want to practice, but what God has set for you to practice.
Absolutely.
You know, and a lot of people don't do that. I don't do that because I have sisters tell me that. I have one sister that, well, I don't cover because I don't want to. I was like, but if you say you're Muslim and God on Judgment Day said, I told you, but you told him because you didn't want to, where that's going to fit at?
Yeah.
The same in Christianity. If the man in the Bible, it tells the man he's supposed to provide for his wife. Now, I don't want to provide. She need to work too and put in the 50. But did God tell you that? Because on Judgment Day, he's going to say, I didn't tell you to do that. So you did what you wanted to do. I asked you to worship me the way I want you to worship me, and you decided to do what you want to do.
Well, the Bible tells us that we should study to show ourselves approved.
Well, oh man, look. And I'm going to be honest with you, my coming across my little Christian sisters and my Jewish sisters and my Muslim sisters, some of them just do what they want to do.
Well, I encourage everybody to study the Bible. That is the reason why, included with my women's empowerment classes, there is Bible study classes, because I need you to understand what's in the Bible, like you just said. So we study the Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
Don't laugh at me too hard, but when I accepted Islam and I found out that the Jew is going to be... Okay, so they said this. The Jewish person is going to be tested on that Torah. Then the Christian is going to be tested on that Torah because it's part of the Bible and the gospel. Then the Muslim, because they told that the Quran is a summary, is going to be tested on the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran.
There you go.
I ran to school so quick and signed up for a Bible. I ain't read the whole Bible when I was Christian.
See, that's what I'm saying. And look at this, right? I've already read the Torah, the Quran, and the Bible. I'm reading all three of them books. Like I said, I even threw the Giza in there too. You know what I'm saying? And all the rest of the scripture that's been lost to us that ain't, whatever. The Gospel of Thomas, all the Gnostic stuff, the Kabbalah. I'm covering it all.
Yeah. I went even to a Buddha class, but the Buddhism kind of threw me off a little bit. But they threw me completely off. I was a little mad with my Buddhist teacher when he was telling me. He was like, "Yeah, but the highest form of reincarnation is human, but only men can go to heaven." So I said, "Wait a minute, you telling me I'm already condemned because I'm a woman?"
Exactly, right?
I said, "You know what? Y'all can keep that." I'm all right with the Abrahamic faith. I'm good. I know we're on the same path and the same understanding, because that just threw me completely
right.
off.
And it's a lot. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of studying. I get it. Because I've even had some of my students complain about the homework that I give, and that, it's just too much like school, they say to me. It is school. It is. It's Christian education. And if you're a Christian, you should want this education. And I don't understand anyone who doesn't. But again, it's not forced upon anyone. You know, Khadijah, I've been doing these classes for 22 years.
Yeah.
And I will continue to do these classes for 22 years more, if God allows. It's a revolving door, because you're going to get that. You're going to get the people that's, jump in wholeheartedly. Yes. Then they realize real work, which is, because it really is. You know what? I tell the sisters that come to the class, I say, well, you think God is supposed to just open the door for you in heaven? You're just supposed to walk on in? That's exactly what they think.
Yeah.
Again, the topic of these conversations that we're having, that I'm having with all of my my faithful men and women, who I'm going to speak to, men and women of faith, it's faith without works is dead. You can't be a man or a woman of faith and think that there's no work to be done.
Yeah.
There's a work to be done, and that's all of us. Some of us need to understand that maybe all you were given was a husband to love. Well, then you should love your husband with all your heart and soul. And if you're lucky enough and blessed enough to have children, well, then you got another role. Let's love our children. Let's raise our children up to love God.
That's true.
Right? And and if we continue to be blessed and God put friends and relations in our pathway, then we should try to be the best that we can be for them.
Yes, you're an example. That's another way, what we call dawa, which is conveying, inviting somebody to what's good. One way of doing that is just by your actions.
Yes.
Somebody get curious about, okay, so what you believe? Even with my Christian brothers and sisters, they see, like for instance, Karoline, your presence alone would, make people question, like, how you practicing?
Yeah.
What you doing that I ain't doing? Because you look wholesome and righteous and pious.
Well, I'm constantly asked that anyway. Mm-hmm. And I've had women tell me, I could never do the things that you do. Yes, you can. Yes, you can if you put your heart toward it.
Yeah, that's
yes,
right.
You can. Okay. I made a decision in my life a long time ago. And when I made that decision in my life a long time ago, I prayed and I asked the Lord to give me the strength to live up to the choices that I made. And every single morning I asked for that strength. And every single day I'm moving that strength. So I'm living by the choices that I made in my life. I made this choice a long, long time ago. And I've wake up every day still on that same journey. But while I'm on this journey, I know that I am supposed to learn and get as much as I can get from this life before I leave this life, which is why I am always a willing student. I'm always willing to learn. It doesn't matter how far you think you've come, you ain't gone far enough.
No, not. No. Yeah. That's so true. And that's why I continue my education. I'm finishing my bachelor's in religion at University of Greensboro. And then I'm transferring to a sheka. We call a sheka, which is a female scholar. Mm-hmm. She has a 2-year course on the study of Islam. So I'm going to continue to learn so I can apply. Now, that, like you said, we believe that you have people, you can have somebody come in here right now because we believe in Hafiz and Quran. There's people that can recite the Quran by memory, but don't know how to act on it. So it's like, what's the purpose? You can recite that and you don't even know what it means or how to implement it. Then we taught in Islam, and this is in Christianity and in Judaism, the purpose of life, our whole purpose on this earth is to worship God.
Yes.
So put God first.
Yes.
It makes everything else just obsolete. Because your whole purpose, like you said, you wake up and you say, well, now how can I please my Lord today?
Exactly.
How can I follow this path that he gave me the right way to make him happy? You're not worried about nobody else.
Exactly.
Because when you start worrying about everybody else, they become your gods.
Exactly. It's take away any desire in me that displeases you and help me to stay on the path that I chose. And I chose this path. And I'm aware that I chose this path. And we all need help along the way. And as I'm walking down through my journey, I'm looking and I'm receiving what it is for me to receive. My mother had this saying, and I think you know it. It's eat the meat and spit out the bones. Yes. So it is a matter of taking in what you're supposed to take in and getting rid of all the stuff that doesn't do you any good. But it might do somebody else some good. It's okay if you need to discard it because it's not what you need on your journey.
No.
And I learned that from my mom. And I have all these jewels that I got from my mother that I'm so grateful. I sat at my mother's feet, by the way. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yes. Well, anyway, Khadijah, it was absolutely my pleasure to have this candid conversation with you.
Yes. Oh, and please, if you get a chance, when you talk to the sisters, if they want to learn anything about Islam, tell them to feel free to join my site and contact me. I have no problem talking because, like I said, so many families are intertwined.
Yes.
And people don't really know how to react to Muslims. Your sister's great at it, though. Penny is great.
Okay. Well, I'm actually going to add your information that you shared with me on my website, if you don't mind. That will give individuals opportunity to check out what you do and to reach out to you.
Yeah, because I found that like a lot of people don't know this as well. A Muslim brother, a man, can marry because we all one faith. A Muslim, a Christian woman or a Jewish woman, they can marry them. So you have some sisters that is in our classes that are not Muslim. They are Christians, but they are married to Muslim men. So they need to know certain things like what they're supposed to do in Ramadan. How can they help them? You know, the best thing to marry is a man that fears God. So if you marry a Muslim man that fears God, you want to make sure he's doing what he needs to do to stay in that realm. Just like a sister that marries a Christian husband, you want to make sure that he's in church and he's doing his studies and stuff to make sure he's staying in the fearness of God. Because if he fears God, he's going to do you right.
Exactly. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And the same for the men. You make sure that you marry. This is what I told my son. Make sure she's a godly woman, because that makes a big difference. A woman who fears God is going to do right by everybody.
Remember what happened to Solomon?
Absolutely.
Took you on the wrong path, bro.
Yeah, so that's important too. All right, so we have come to the end of our Candid Conversation. I want to thank you once again, Khadijah, for joining me on this conversation. And I want you to come back another time so that we can talk again. Is that okay?
I will enjoy that. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. And we have come to the end of another episode. My name is Dr. Karoline Bethea-Jones, and I am your host. And just a little bit of information to give you about Sisters Helping Sisters in Christ Ministry. Sisters Helping Sisters in Christ Ministry is a 501c3 nonprofit mentoring ministry committed to forming a strong bond among women for the purpose of encouraging, motivating, uplifting, strengthening, and empowering women to achieve their goals. This ministry works toward excellence through biblical studies, spiritual awareness, empowerment classes, and life-building workshops. This program was developed to encourage, uplift, educate, and empower women who have a desire to change their lives. All levels are welcome to attend. Hope to see you again next time with another edition of Real Talk with Real People, a candid conversation with Dr. Karoline Bethea-Jones. See you soon.